A massive wave of federal class action lawsuits forced one of the largest appliance makers on Earth to answer for refrigerators that were dying in under 5 years, a defect they had spent nearly a decade denying. Courthouse documents, stacks of consumer complaints, a corporate logo on a glass tower. So here is the question that should bother every single person watching. Why does a refrigerator built in 1953 still run perfectly in a garage in Ohio today, while the $3,000 machine you buy this year will likely be dead before your loan is paid off? That old machine, with a rounded chrome handle and a steel cabinet, humming in the corner of a garage. The new one, a wall of touchscreen French door refrigerators glowing under big box store lights. We did not go from machines that lasted 50 years to machines engineered to fail in 5 by accident. Something changed. And in this investigation, we are going to show you the only 7 refrigerators ever built that still outlive everything sitting on the showroom floor right now. We are going to show you those 7 machines. We are going to show you the exact engineering that lets them survive. And we are going to show you why they are quietly disappearing before most people even notice they are gone. Start at the store. The wall of touchscreen, Wi-Fi, and French door refrigerators looks like a competitive market. Dozens of models, a row of different brand names, salespeople in blue shirts pointing at features. But it is an illusion. Most of them are the same fragile platform wearing 5 different badges, the same compressor, the same plastic ice maker, the same circuit board behind a different sticker. The real divide is not one brand against another. It is the era before the regulations and the buyouts against the disposable era we live in now. 2 forces killed the great refrigerator. Energy mandates that forced manufacturers toward fragile new compressors, and accountants who replaced serviceable metal with sealed plastic and computer boards. A factory line stamping out plastic housings, an engineer's blueprint marked up in red, a corporate boardroom with a quarterly earnings chart. Now the survivors, 7 machines that refuse to die. The first survivor is the old Amana. The quiet workhorse, it runs for 20 years without a single service call. A boxy white Amana refrigerator stands in a basement with a top freezer and a simple latch. It survives because it uses a simple top freezer layout and a rotary compressor, with no ice maker in the door to leak or jam. Set it beside a brand new Samsung French door and watch what happens. The Samsung fails in 4 years, its ice maker frozen into a solid block of ice behind the door while the Amana just keeps humming. The next survivor is the basic Hotpoint, the unglamorous model nobody photographs for a catalog. A plain Hotpoint refrigerator in a rental kitchen, a worn temperature dial inside. It keeps food freezing cold on its lowest setting because it was built with an oversized simple cooling system and mechanical controls. There is nothing electronic inside to fry. It was never smart, and that is exactly why it is still cold. Then there is the Frigidaire, from the years when that name was the actual word people used for a refrigerator, the way people say a tissue is a Kleenex. A heavy chrome and steel Frigidaire from the mid-century, the brand badge in classic script. A heavy steel cabinet, a serviceable sealed system. And it is the clearest proof of what happens when a private equity owner buys a trusted name and strips out the quality until only the badge is left. The old steel next to a flimsy modern one carrying the same name and almost nothing else in common. The pre-2000 Whirlpool is the machine a handy owner could keep alive forever. A homeowner could pull the back panel off a white Whirlpool refrigerator and hold a defrost timer and a relay between 2 fingers. Those were cheap parts you could still order. The whole refrigerator could be serviced from the back panel for the price of a pizza. That is the opposite of everything the company sells today, where a sealed unit means a single failure becomes a landfill trip. The vintage Kenmore from Sears is the single most common survivor people still own. Those Harvest Gold and Avocado Green machines have been running since the 1970s, A retro avocado green Kenmore in a wood-paneled basement, the old Sears Kenmore badge. Here's the thing people get wrong. Sears did not build them. Sears demanded overbuilt and serviceable machines from the best manufacturers, then put them all under one badge. With Sears gone, nobody is making anything to that standard again. An empty, shuttered Sears store with the sign coming down. The General Electric refrigerators from the 1950s and the 1960s are the heart of this entire list. The machines are still running after 50, 60, even 70 years. A rounded vintage General Electric refrigerator with a chrome lever handle, a monitor top design from the era. They used a steel build and an oil bath rotary compressor that is almost impossible to kill because it is constantly lubricated as it runs. And here is the cruel irony. Modern General Electric is now the cautionary tale, putting a computer board right next to the heat vent, where the one thing electronics hate most is the one thing the machine produces all day. The old GE compressor still spinning, a modern circuit board scorched brown by heat. The greatest of them all is the Kelvinator, the machine that helped invent household refrigeration. An antique Kelvinator from the 1920s, a tall monitor unit with a coil on top and the original brand emblem. Units from that decade are still running, a full century later, built with zero compromise because the cost-cutting playbook did not exist yet. There was no incentive to make it fail, and when one of these finally dies, there is no replacement on Earth. That is exactly what before they are gone really means. 100-year-old Kelvinator still humming in the corner of a workshop. So if everything good was built before the model changed, is there anything left to actually buy? There is one living exception in the appliance world, but it is not where you would think to look. Companies like Speed Queen still save our laundry with commercial-grade washers built to last decades. But if you want a refrigerator that refuses to die today, you have to look somewhere else entirely. You either pay the heavy premium for a commercial-grade Sub-Zero with its dual compressors, thick commercial-grade insulation, and heavily serviceable parts built to run for 20 years or more, or you skip the residential showroom floor completely. A massive stainless Sub-Zero built into a luxury kitchen, the dual compressor system behind the grill. Smart buyers are now putting actual commercial reach-in coolers into their kitchens. Machines built for restaurants by brands like Turbo Air and Beverage Air, with heavy steel bodies, zero touchscreens, and parts that any cooling tech can fix with a simple wrench. A stainless steel restaurant reach-in cooler in a home garage, a technician tightening a fitting on the back of a commercial fridge. None of this was an accident. It was a business model, a corporate strategy document, a product life cycle chart curving downward, a landfill filling with discarded appliances. These 7 refrigerators survived only because they were built before that model existed. So if you have one of these machines in your garage, keep it running. You are not behind the times. You are the last person who remembers when things were built to last, and every one of these that gets scrapped is gone forever. If this investigation made you look at your own appliances differently, subscribe. Industrial Decay performs a new forensic audit on the machines you trust every week. Next, we tear into the recreational vehicle industry, where the rot is literally inside the walls.